NERDSoul.
That's what I'm talking about. Late ill kid at OneYoungsta. Holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. We talk about Star Trek. That's right. You best believe it. I ain't going to tell you no lies. And I am joined by the cinematic sorcerer, Solar Gray. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? I'm Solar Gray, the cinematic sorcerer, coming at you from the Wizard's Tower. And it is every wizard's dream to be called to a podcast because of his combat skills.
Yo, we're going to talk about that in a second. We are definitely going to get into that. But you know what? Since there is some sentimentality in this episode, I want to start off with a prophetic word from the group known as En Vogue. Hold on to your love.
Oh, you gotta hold on.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta hold on. See, we are in a rock and a hard place with many people in relationships. You have a job, she got a job. There's a lot of stuff to do. People calling you, people need you to do important things, maybe sign documents or oversee stuff or confirm things. And sometimes you let life get in the way. You let life get in the way and it runs you ragged. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I've been tending to everything, but I haven't been tending to my mate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we find sad Pike.
Sad Pike.
Sad Pike today. He's with his lady. It looks like everything's pretty cool. Even after the whole stuff with Una, it seems like pretty cool because I could definitely see a situation where a current girl or wife or whatever, could say, why are you trying to save her so bad? So they ain't even had to go through that. So it's like, what, that's good. They didn't have to go through that. There wasn't any I guess, accusation or impropriety or anything. Everything was cool. And it looks like we're back on, they're giving gifts and stuff. Everything looks fine. But the job comes calling. Both of them got, important things to do. And Ike is just pushing her away.
With that particular scene, I gotta say, I felt for him. I really, really felt for them both. Because, again, well, you got kids. So it's really one of those like, all right, so I'm gonna sit here. We gonna have a little bit of husband and wife time. That's what we are up to. That is what we are doing. And then, Mom, damn it. It's like, hold up. Phone. Somebody's on the phone. Is it work? No, then don't worry about it. Is it grandma? No. All right, cool.
Is someone on fire?
It's like, are you hurt? Yeah, I'm hurt. Are you bleeding? Well, no, you're gonna be all right.
You'll be all right.
You're all right. Go play. And then, Mom, what? Grandma's on the phone. All right. So I gotta take it. And it's like, yeah, I know you gotta take this. And like I said, I felt for him because we all been there.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're from, what you do. We have all been there. Because that's where the man just leave me alone part comes in.
And it's like it's funny because like even with myself yesterday, we prep the guy for bed, dinner, shower, reading, cool, bedtime. Now we finally have some time to at least talk about what's going on today, maybe family issues, stuff, adult conversations that he can't, because kids, they repeat things and they repeat out of context, and you just don't need that. So, or even if there was a movie that we wanted to watch that, either a horror film or something like that, he can't be around. Well, about an hour after bed, he decided to, Dad. I'm like, why am I hearing a voice that should be asleep?
I'm thirsty. Don't you have object permanence yet? I still exist. Yeah.
So last night we all slept in the same bed because just defending against bad dreams. So it happens. You try to like do all the the daytime stuff and focus on something else, and then give 30 minutes, like they say in the show, to themselves, and then you can't get that.
Yep.
But at least Una came in and was like, look, go on and fix it. All right, go on, go to your woman, fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, quit messing this up.
Like, you're doing
And
this on
real
purpose.
talk, that's why she wasn't like, oh, why are you trying to save Una so bad?
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, man, Una's the ride or die. And she's like, hey, yeah, so Chris, you broke up with her? Yeah, you're doing that thing. Like, what thing? You get close, you get scared, you run. I don't do that thing. You do that thing.
It's
Do
like,
I do
yeah,
that thing? Yes, you do
do it
that
a lot.
thing.
It's like you do it all the time.
And it's like, oh, I should probably stop doing that thing, huh? Oh, yeah, you think?
Yeah, you might want to just ease up on it a little bit. So I did like that. I like the gift that she gave him that was very very personal.
It's a very good use of a MacGuffin as well.
Yes.
Or not
it was,
MacGuffin, but Chekhov's gun. That was really good.
Yeah, it was a great piece of foreshadowing. It was sentimental too, so it's like it wasn't just like, hey, here's foreshadowing. At the moment it just seemed like, oh, this is going to be a cool gift, and it's something that is very sentimental to him, and it'll have to do with the relationship, but it not only tied in with the relationship but also the episode. So I thought that was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
So it a real good use of the gun. Really good use.
But on the episode side, this is something that I haven't seen before, and you might have seen because you've seen way more Star Trek than I have. I don't think I've seen before where a officer has been left behind and then kind of like became not only resentful but also became like the sort of like a warlord to a certain degree.
That's not normally a Star Trek thing.
Okay. Because I was like, I haven't seen it before, but I know I haven't seen all Star Trek.
Yeah. I haven't seen it very much at all. I'm sure there will be a comment telling me to do better, because they'll probably be able to recite.
I love the vague do better. Do better at what? But go ahead.
There was probably an episode of Voyager, which I'm not very familiar with, but from TOS, TNG, Enterprise, and DS9. No, that's not something that I've seen, because it's not generally a Star Trek thing. Mm-hmm. Most of the time with Star Trek, you wearing a red shirt, you're just dead. That's pretty much about it. If somebody gets left behind, they science gack. Okay, I got picked up and taken to this space station type thing.
Okay.
Being left behind and turned into a warlord is much more Lucas than Roddenberry.
Okay. Because when I saw when they were talking about going back to this planet, I was like, yeah, I kind of remember that episode. Like I remember that. Okay. I kind of remember that episode. I mean, I'll have to go back and actually watch it, but I was like, I remember because when they talked about Spock getting shot, I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. But like just thinking about someone getting left behind, like I know they were under attack, but I didn't, like he said, I wasn't counting inventory at the time. But
yeah, I was kind of trying not to get shot.
Yeah, like I know people got shot, but I mean, I wasn't thinking about who was and wasn't left behind and stuff like that. And of course, like he said, I mourned you. Like I thought you were dead. So this is
Star Trek, and red shirts die. See, that's just how it goes.
So I thought this was kind of cool, seeing someone who, like, we were like, hey, this guy who we thought was dead, he was a red shirt yeoman, just a regular old red shirt that got shot in the attack, and now we find, oh no, it's not it's not just cut and dry. This episode has bled into other things, which is something that I've liked to see from the Discovery side, the Strange New World side, and also the Picard side, where even though I didn't watch the final season of Picard, like seeing how these things are kind of, they're like, hey, remember that episode that you thought was kind of inconsequential? Yeah, they still got to pay for that. So I do like that. I like when our characters have to kind of, because that happens in real life where you're like, oh man, I kicked the can down the road 6 months ago, and now it's time to deal with it for real. So,
Mom, we got a bunch of mail, and it's got a bunch of red stuff inside it.
This is all caps. So yeah, I thought that was cool. Seeing, and then also seeing, I guess the general attitude of anger. I've been left behind. You did this to me, and I can see to a certain degree if we're adding in the memory loss, where that could come from. You're like, hey, I was just left for dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, I even though for me, if they show back up, I'll be like, thank God I'm saved. But
they show up and it's like, where you been?
But of course, he was not happy at all.
No, he was not having it.
I thought that was a great use of like I guess a super minor character, and something that was kind of hand wavy, like we've got to go, we got to get out of here, and now you have to come back because this is something that this is y'all's problem. Like we took these shots. This is your problem. Go fix it. And I guess with that fixing, I want to ask you, because you know way more about Star Trek, what are they supposed to do? Like, say if they do, like, say in a situation like this, what, are they supposed to like destroy all the symbols, and like how do they fix it after they've broken it? I guess. Actually,
yeah, that's exactly it. So there's a lot of things they could have done.
Mm-hmm.
Like Starfleet regulation handling of this episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Slight spoilers for the end. But since getting shielding for the radiation is the way to get the memories back, it's take little mister, it is the will, the forgetting is a blessing. Mm-hmm. Have him write a note and put it in his pocket. Okay? And then they destroy all the symbols, all evidence that they were there, except for the note that's in the dude's handwriting in his own language. And then set him outside and leave.
Okay. All right. That works. Because I was thinking, like, if you make first contact or you mess up something, you can't. I mean, the cat's out of the bag. They know about future stuff now. So
yeah, that's the thing. They do the forgetting, and then he finds the note that says, "Go to the temple. To stay in the temple, you shall know who you are," or something like that. And they go to the temple. They kick it for a couple of days, and he's like, "Oh, yeah." Memory, gotta keep this secret. Cool. And then that's it.
And the cool thing about the at least the yeoman that we see is, even he said, hey, I'm going to destroy these symbols. They so at least he had that much in his mind to say, okay, I have to destroy this stuff. But he wasn't destroying the weapons though. He was keeping those. He's like, I'm gonna keep these weapons. Like, no doubt. I'm keeping the power on my side. Like, you best believe I am not. Repeat, am not going to.
I am not the one, as my mom would say.
Yeah, I'm not going to give up this power at all. Which is something that I can respect. It makes sense, and I respect that. One thing that I thought was funny about the situation was the totem situation, like the totem setup and how they did the totems in general. When they looked at the wall, the wall of the story of the history of Rigel, or Rigel VII, sorry.
Yeah.
Because I guess regular Rigel is another place, because there's 7 of them.
Remember the naming conventions. Technically, we're on Soul 3. So,
once they started telling the story, I was like, well, if that's the case, like, why don't y'all just go to the castle? Like, because I'm pretty sure, like, when I read it, I was like, yeah, it's probably not a special thing in the castle. It's probably just the castle that's shielding this radiation. But we know about the radiation. They don't. They just, of course, thousands of years have just been told, like, hey, y'all forget, and we're the smart ones, and y'all are the dumb ones. Right?
Exactly.
And so, so I guess I get that side too, but I guess I wonder, nobody's ever tried, but I guess since you forget everything every night, somebody might have tried, but by the time they succeeded or whatever, they forgot. So
now see, this particular movie,
or they got killed,
or this particular episode, again, where I get my solution from all this is literally out of character knowledge, because this episode did something that I really, really liked, and it played with a concept that I'm really down with. And that concept is tinkering with time. It's playing with time. The time that it's playing with, in a nutshell, is very, well, how can I put this? This entire episode was Memento from like Chris Nolan's second movie. First one was an indie flick that nobody knows about, but the second one was a movie called Memento, where a dude is trying to track down his wife's killer, but the trauma means that every day his memory is wiped and he resets.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Okay, so he tattoos notes all over himself, and he has a friend that's trying to help him find his wife's killer.
All right, that's
and it's
cool.
like, yeah, so considering that was one of my favorite movies for a while, I totally get the, okay, you wake up, brand new day. Literally, brand new day. Like, your name is Ron. You live here. You're allergic to these foods, type of thing. And yeah, that was, the real talk on that subject, using that kind of what's the term I'm looking for? Using that method of storytelling. The writers have a lot, by the way, WGA solidarity, the writers have a lot of room to play with on that. Because again, you've brought every single why couldn't they just comment is answered with because they forget the next day. Why couldn't they just do this?
Or
they probably
if someone does get to the castle, either they kill him, or by the time they remember him, they might be able to like convert him to Hydra. You know what I'm saying? It's like
exactly.
You do have a lot of things working against you. Got the memory part. You have, of course, the top artillery or whatever. And then if they get there, they could still be turned to believe like, hey, no, you should actually just stay here and not help the other people because they're going to forget anyway. And
exactly.
So that is one of those things where it's like, man, I wonder if this could happen, because, as you think about it, it's like, nah, I don't think anyone, not in numbers, because as you see, they did fight back and nobody joined in like, yeah, let's get them. Like, they were just like kind of chilling.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, man, my name's Paul.
They were like the background characters in a Street Fighter video game. They were just like standing around watching.
That's actually a very good way to put it. Yeah.
They were just standing around chilling. Nothing, nothing to see here. No big deal. You know what I mean? It's a little fight.
Move along.
A dude just got hit with a sledgehammer in the face. He's most likely dead, but I mean, we're not gonna.
It happens. It happens. Get back to work.
Workplace accident. No big deal. But that situation and that setup, I think, is very important, because we do see for a second where they play with the memories. And as someone who I've known through on my wife's side who has gone through like Alzheimer's or dementia and memory loss, and then on my side as well, it is interesting to see someone who has forgotten so much, but then also remembers a lot. Like if you bring up a specific thing, it's like they'll remember everything about that.
Right.
Um, Now I could bring up a certain memory from, a Thanksgiving like 15 years ago or something like that, and they'll be like, yeah, and this happened and that, But then if they'll also ask you if you and your wife are married, like 10 times before you leave, so
Well,
those
memory
things.
is a weird thing, man.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I like how this played with it because we did get into well, hey, there's deeper memories, and then there's memories attached to feeling, and then, I mean, of course, we didn't get into smell, but yeah, memories attached to smell, all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So kind of how memory works, how important memory is, and the feelings attached to them and stuff like that. So I thought that was really really cool to add into also the ongoing problem of trying to figure out what's going on, who you are, and get back to wherever you came from. So I thought
Right.
that was cool, especially handled in one episode, because this could easily, I think, be spread out between two, but they handled it in one pretty well.
Yeah. Again, the episode in and of itself was handled very well. It was very reminiscent of classic Star Trek in the sense of like how can I put this? It brought up a lot of cerebral concepts. What is memory? How does it work? What does it actually look like? Okay, when you have memory problems, and what is the nature of human beings? And that's a really big one in the sense of well, how can I put this without being super duper hyperbolic intellectual? When All right, so you get this idea, okay? You get this idea that a person is the sum of their memories, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You are who you are because of not just the life that you've lived, but how you reacted to it, and what you've learned from it, the lessons that you glean through the years, as it were.
Okay.
All right. Now, with this episode, it did something really interesting in the sense of they forget what skills they know, and that's very cool. So when the memory things start happening, they get to remember what their nature is and what their primary function is. Like Ortega, and she flies the ship.
Yeah.
And
I definitely want to get into Erica. She killed it on this episode.
Yeah, she really did. Because you feel bad for her. like that's literally you just feel bad. You feel really bad for her because she's like, yeah, I'm going out, we're doing the thing, we are what.
She got all dressed up and everything. She even had the hat. Like, you couldn't tell her nothing. She was
and
like,
then
yes,
here comes
mission, I got my hat,
and then here comes Spock saying, oh yeah, so stuff changed a little bit.
And
like,
you can't.
Sorry. And she's like, man, shut up.
He was about to say it would be illogical to blame me, and she was just like, look, just shut up.
Yeah.
She's like, shut up, just shut up. No.
I don't want to hear it right now.
Oh man. But it was funny because she had the whole get up. Like, she was ready to go. And
yeah.
Even Lon was like, you got the hat too? She was like, of course, you gotta have that. Like, oh man. So seeing her go from disappointment to also experiencing the memory loss, because when they were experiencing it up on the ship, I was like, oh, it's probably that stuff that Spock found. It's, it's part of it or whatever. So we get them and the whole ship, and when she goes downstairs, when she says like, just take me home, when she goes downstairs and you just see a whole bunch of random confused people just like sitting down, walking around aimlessly, staring at the ceiling, like it really hits you like, whoa, hold up, these people know nothing,
right?
Like these it's like it's almost like if you took like a whole bunch of like preschoolers and just sat them in a room. Well, no, because at least they haven't lost their memory. They'd probably be, by the time we finish, they'd be playing with Legos or something. These people lost, like completely forgot everything, so they're just standing around like
I'm about to hit you hard, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Content warning, skip to whatever time marker he puts on this.
Oh boy.
It turned the ship into an old folks home and gave most of the crew Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So you got a whole crew full of people in danger that doesn't exactly know what's going on, what they can do. They remember their language.
Yeah. And they, like, even Erica seeing, she was like, hey, are you still there? So at least seeing her new experience with the ship, with the ship's computer, and then talking through that was cool, because her being like, well, what is this, what's going on, and then it telling her like, you are Erica Ortegas, you fly the ship. So she was just like, okay, I fly the ship. So seeing her,
and she's good at it.
Yeah. And seeing her get that back, get that whole like energy and kind of bravado about being the pilot back, and then the cool way she navigated that huge ship, because these Enterprise ships are not small, like they're huge. There's like I don't know, like 2,000 people living on. I don't know, it's a whole bunch. All right, a whole bunch
about 450 on the Enterprise A. Yeah.
Oh, I always thought it was like thousands of people that lived on those things.
That's the D.
Oh, okay.
That's the D. That was when they started letting people bring their families.
Okay. So yeah, still like 450, 500 people. That ship is not small. So she's navigating it, and when she did that cool like shoot laser, thing through I was like, she's back. She might not be all the way back, but flying wise, she's back.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah,
she knows what she's doing.
Oh man, it's like, so I did enjoy how we see her go from disappointed, because she was so excited, disappointed, and then kind of like gaining her her abilities back by just kind of like believing in herself. And then Spock believed in her, because Spock had lost it. He was just standing on the bridge like, hi.
Like, what's up? How you doing? I live here, I guess this is my job.
And then even the data pads that he gave everybody, it doesn't matter, because if you don't remember to press that thing, because Erica didn't remember to press that thing, so it's like it's like, even when you try to fix it, it's probably not going to work, because you're probably just going to be like, oh, what is this thing, whatever it is, and just like move on from it. So that part of this episode, linked with what was going on the ground, was awesome, because it took that like asteroid must be like crazy powerful and crazy big, but like the way it was able to affect them on the ground and on the ship allowed for a better story, where they can't just be like, oh yeah, we can fix it up here, no problem at all, everything's fine. Like, it was it was something that added like an extra layer of difficulty, which I definitely appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh, and shouts to Uhura being like, it's not the oatmeal. Oh, he was like, there's 6 more people that have this problem. She was like, it's not the oatmeal. So that
like, well, we know it wasn't what I ate.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next thing.
We can count that out.
Yeah.
So
So, um, but the part that really stuck out to me, and this is the part I want to talk about with you real quick,
hmm
is the cargo cult aspect of the episode.
okay.
Okay. The folks that were in bondage, saying it is, the work itself is the blessing, and the forgetting, the forgetting is, the forgetting is a gift, and all that stuff.
hmm
I'm rather appreciative of how this episode tackled the origin of mythology. The idea of, we don't know what's going on, but this kind of makes us feel better.
Or even like we don't know what's going on, but I guess this is the best idea because it's old. So since it's old, I guess it's right.
Exactly.
And not saying that everything that's old is wrong, but everything that's old also isn't right.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing about this discovering mythology aspect that I wanted to explore and examine, because in a nutshell, it's very much we don't know what's going on, we don't know why this is happening, but this allows us to feel as though something makes sense. I mean,
Okay.
it's
And
very
then you
much
do have Spock's moments where he was talking about like feelings not being true or no,
Mhm.
feelings not being facts or something like that.
Exactly. So we've got this double-edged conundrum going here, with Spock going, okay, facts are all the business. That is what we mess with. We mess with fact. But then they're in a situation where feelings feelings in and of themselves are the major thing. It's the major thing that gets through this episode. And with feeling comes we don't know the answer, but this feels right. And on one hand, this episode addresses that we could have that, you could follow your feelings and all that stuff. And I'm not saying this as a big middle finger to Star Wars, okay? Although it could kind of, anyway. But simultaneously, there is this idea that since this is what feels right and we got nothing else going, we're going to act as though this is true. And since we are acting as if, as it were, this is what's going to get us by for now. And I really, really, really appreciated that they went that place, because it was very much this is what is getting us through today. And then when they found the truth, it was like, oh man, I feel stupid. And it was like, dude, don't feel stupid. Like, really, don't feel stupid. This is just,
Yeah, you didn't know. Like, this is, you know. And then, of course, when you have a situation where your memory is gone every day, I mean, and you have there's hopelessness in that, and then there's, of course, this whole totem saying like, hey, this is how it's supposed to be. So if you're waking up and you know nothing but what this totem is right here, of course, I'm sure the powerful people put that there, but the people that remember put that there. But of course, you're sitting there like, well, I mean, yeah, this is, there's people that plot our future, and then we're here to do the work, and you just kind of go on about your business.
And the whole idea of, don't have shame in being proven incorrect. And I think that's something, one of the things that this show does very, very well is it does this thing with Pike specifically that he is so big on empathy. Like radical empathy is his bag, baby. You know, that is what he does. And so when people are like, oh my God, I'm stupid. Everything I know is a lie, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, no, you just made an error. It happens.
Like, it's all right. You're going to be okay.
Yeah. And I think that's a really important thing. I really do. I think that's an important thing to consider and an important thing to really wrap one's head around. Because in the world that we live in today, being wrong is tantamount to being evil in a lot of people's eyes, you know? Like, you know, tell me I'm wrong, you know? I mean, a lot of folks are like, no, I can't be wrong. If I'm wrong, then I'm useless and I'm blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, you made an error.
Yeah,
errors happen.
It's okay. You know? Life will go on.
Exactly.
Like, there's nothing wrong with being wrong. But anyway, the problem...
There's nothing wrong with being incorrect, as I like to say.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. The problem comes in is when you know you're wrong or you've been proven to be wrong and you feel that just because you have to be right or you don't like the person who's right, that you're not going to acknowledge it. That is the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I don't like this person, so they're not right. It's like, no, they're still right.
Like, yo, that ain't how it works, bro.
That person's still right. Now, this person may be a complete but this person might be a complete posterior, but they are right about this. Now, I'm not saying that we should throw them a parade, but they are right about this.
Right.
So you need to accept that about this. I'm not telling you to go follow them. I'm not telling you that I believe every word they say. I'm not telling you that I support or endorse them. I am saying that they are right about this. Because people like, if you're like, hey man, that guy's got a point. He's like, oh, do you believe this too? It's like, no, I said that was the point. I don't know the 500 other videos this guy has made. I have no idea. But I know about this particular thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's right. Or she's right on that. Or she's wrong on that. Or he's wrong on that.
Right.
Because now we have a very Sith-like culture. You know. You're not with me.
Well, they only deal in absolutes.
True. Very true. Oh man. So I do agree with that. He's able to say, guys, it's gonna be okay. No problem. We can fix it. We can work it out.
Yeah, y'all messed up. Everybody does. Let me tell you about my relationship.
I'm going to go back on the ship and fix that right now.
Exactly.
But, and then I like how he worked it out where he fixed fixing the radiation, I guess meteor or asteroid, whatever. I can't remember what term you use once it hits.
Yeah.
Whatever. He fixed that. So, and like you said, it wasn't originally there. So, this is something that we can remove and save these people.
Yeah.
But I did have I got two questions for you on the asteroid and on the ship in general, or the planet in general. All right. Okay. So my first question is, Rigel VII is called a M-class planet.
Yes.
Where can I go to find this planet class information? Because they always designate classes. I'm like, what does that mean? I don't know.
There's loads of sources, but this goes back to TOS. An M-class planet is a planet capable of sustaining sentient humanoid life.
Okay, cool. So basically, it's an Earth-like, planet.
Yeah, it's somewhere we can live. Now, cool. The distinction for M-class is kind of broad because it's like, yeah, that could sustain life. However,
the planet's name is Hoth. No,
yeah, exactly. It's yes, this planet can absolutely sustain life. Okay. However, Siberia can also sustain life, but you don't want to live there.
Good for it. All right,
You
cool,
know,
cool. All right,
because
so
technically Detroit is an M-class city, but shout outs to Detroit, by the way.
oh man. So all right, cool. Got that down. Then
Okay.
my next question is the radiation. And this
Yes.
might be just a random, like, a random science question. All right, with the radiation being so powerful that
Yes.
even people in orbit could feel it.
Yeah.
Is it safe or even responsible to just throw it back into space? Like, what if it
Yes.
hits some other planet? Like, shouldn't you,
Um.
like, I don't know, like obliterate it, blow it up, I don't know, implode it, do something,
You
do some
mean
sciencey
so
stuff to
that
like
it
render
turns
it inert?
into thousands of irradiated pieces floating through space and possibly landing on an M-class planet?
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
All
I don't
right,
know.
so
Isn't
the
there like a
science.
science way to like melt
No,
it, or
okay.
like,
So the
or
science behind it
put it
is
in
they
another
could
dimension or
examine
something?
they could try and isolate the isotopes, um, calculate the nature of the radiation, and hopefully play out its half-life. Okay.
Hmm.
However, because there is
We don't have
always
time for that.
well, however, there is a bigger thing out there. Number one, this particular radioactive thing I found to be a very, very good thing, because essentially every asteroid is a great big rock, okay? And radiation comes from 3 different places in space off the top of my head. It's been a while since I took astrophysics, and my middle name is not Degrassi, and the only Tyson I know are the chicken nuggets and Mike. So, and I haven't even met Mike. But radiation comes from 3 places off the top of my head. Number 1, stars.
Yeah,
Number 2, black holes. And number 3, white holes.
Ah,
Okay. Again, a black hole sucks stuff in. A white hole is the other side of it that's spitting it out. But keep in mind that throwing the radioactive rock back into space, I'm going to put this out there for the people that, if you got like high schoolers and stuff listening, space is named that for a reason. Okay. Space is so big that no name suits its nature but its own. There is nothing like but space.
If you just watch the YouTube videos where it shows like it, there's a couple of videos that'll show like the pullback. So it'll be like, hey, this is like America. Hey, this is the continent. Hey, this is the hemisphere. Hey, this is the planet.
Yeah.
Hey, this is our solar system. Hey, this is our galaxy. Hey, and it just keeps going back. It is like, it shows how small we are, like, as it keeps going back. It is like, it goes so far back that it's like, it's an arrow pointing, but you can't see what it's pointing. It's just like,
dude.
And they're like, this is just the known. Like, we can't go any further because we can't get there fast enough.
Keep in mind, the past 70 years of Star Trek has been examining 3/4 of our galaxy. Okay. We ain't made it to Andromeda. That's what made the last season of Discovery so cool. Because they finally made it past the galactic barrier.
Yeah. Okay. When they passed it, they were like, what's over here?
But real talk, and this is coming from someone who has a degree in physics. When it comes to the center of the universe, it is so big that the only directions you have are you can't get there from here. That's how big space is. So throwing a rock out there is the most responsible thing that they can do. Because the longer that they sat there trying to figure out its half-life and all that stuff, the more danger it put their stuff in. Remember, Spock put some duct tape on it to stop the
Yeah,
radiation from
Spock was
having
like,
those
all right,
effects.
they were like, all right, Band-Aid real quick. All right, cool, we're out.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And with that being the case, since they literally were doing nothing but band-aiding the whole thing, you gotta think about that in the premise of this is what we've got, this is what effects it's happening. What can we do to get rid of this thing? How can we stop the thing? Yeah, putting the fire out would be a good idea. However,
and I guess to answer that question too, I guess they have the tools to know, okay, we're going to throw it in this path, and there's no planets in this path for the next
that we've charted so far.
Yeah, there's no planets that way, so just throw it that way. So okay,
exactly.
All right, thank you, Enterprise. Thank you for saving these people. Now they can all remember stuff, and everything's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though we saw the memories come back to the guy, and he was like devastated because he was like, I had a son, not so.
Bruh. Yeah, that was rather heartbreaking. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, oh, bro, I feel you.
Because he said that he could feel the weight of whatever it was, and that he didn't want to know. But even though those things, you also have the memories of the beautiful times with your son. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's this is one of those tough things where it's like, I mean, I get there's certain things that we want to forget, but it's you can't kind of pick and choose those things.
Bruh. See, I ain't gonna lie. This is why I'm a Trekkie. Okay? This is exactly why I'm a Trekkie. 40 minutes of television, and we're talking about the nature of man, the weight of Alzheimer's, and the deep meaning in having all the memories from your life and how the bad stuff gives a juxtaposition to the good stuff and how all of it is worth keeping regardless of how painful it is.
Yeah.
That is so much cooler to me than pew pew lightsabers. I'm not trying to cause any smoke.
Well, right. Star Wars does get deep too. It's just in a different way. But Star Wars does get deep. I'll give Star Wars their props. It's more it's less surface level than people give it credit for. I'll say that. Like, all right, I'll give Lucas his props. Lucas, he set off a path on some good stuff. I'll give him his props. But there's a very distinct difference in the time taken on that examination.
Yeah.
Like here in Star Trek, there's basically like they'll really examine it for that whole time. In Star Wars, they show it to you, but they're like, hey, it's on you now. You pull this stuff out.
Well,
but we're gonna
Star
move
Wars
on
does more like, hey, look at this really deep concept. Okay, now, hey kids, buy this toy.
It's like, all right, go fight now.
Yeah, go fight and buy this toy.
But
look, Jedis have gymnastics.
It's like, you gotta work out and do gymnastics and just focus on the Force.
Yeah.
Even though the Force in itself is a deep concept, but that's a whole nother thing. And of course, a whole nother property. We don't have enough time for that. But I'll say on the Alzheimer's side, it's funny because we could have even, went towards the people that are affected that don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Because straight up, I'm dealing with that in my family. And when I was first faced with seeing, because for me it's with my grandmother. When I was first faced with seeing my grandmother in a way that I didn't grow up seeing her, it tore me apart. Like, I was like crying. I was like, because this isn't, I mean, of course you grow up with your grandma, you expect a certain person.
Right.
And, for me, I moved away to LA, I come back, and this is not the woman that I spent Christmases with. This is not the woman that I used to spend, summers and spring break and all that stuff with. It's hard. It is very, so those memories are important, and just seeing that weight hit that guy, it's, you know, I like that they
It got you a little bit in the
gave that.
feels.
Yeah, it got me a little bit in the feels, and I like that they gave him that moment. You know, because at first he was like, I don't need it, I'm cool. You know, y'all go get y'all
Yeah, no,
memories.
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, ignorance is bliss. I know there was something, but nah, I mean, you know, I'm here in the moment.
Yeah.
And I love how Star Trek has always given crap to hippies. I'm not gonna lie. It fills me with joy. I will not. I'm not going to front about that. I'm really not. Because, you know, from Kirk punching hippies in the face for stealing his girl.
Wow.
To the realness of like, yeah, let's just live in the moment. Yeah, how about not? How about let's save my friend?
Yeah, it's like, it's like,
You know,
come on now.
because
Like,
yeah, I've been around a lot of people that are like, yeah, let's live in the moment. Let's blah blah blah, and it's like, dude, can we not? Can we seriously not? Because yeah, no, we can't just live in the moment. We got other stuff we got to do.
Yeah,
and
very important things to do.
Yeah,
I got a friend that's dying. We apparently got to get on some kind of. We got here somehow. We got to get back to wherever we were.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that he's literally going, I'm gonna live in the moment, I'm gonna just do my thing. And when it came down to it, it was like, nah, bro. No, we can't do that. One, my friend is dying, and evidently this guy is a healer or a doctor of some kind, and I gotta save my friend. And good old Doc was like, yeah, this person is my friend. I ain't giving up. I'm like, thank you. Thank you. It's just, it's literally making, yeah, it literally makes my, it makes my heart go. It really does. It really makes my heart go. 'Cause, yeah, it just gets a little bit, it gets old after a while, where it's like, live in the moment, don't worry about that today. I know your friend is dying, it happens.
Yeah, people die, what can you do?
And it's like, yeah, people do die, but that don't mean we don't try.
Yeah, it's like you just straight up like whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll throw it to you this week. What final thoughts do you have for Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and where can they find you?
So my final thoughts on this one is honestly, well, on this episode or on Strange New Worlds as a whole?
I guess this episode first, and then as a whole. You can go as a whole.
Okay. This individual episode I thought was just as amazing as the rest of the season. I'm not the kind of person that looks for reasons to not like stuff. Mm-hmm. That's not how I roll. And this one did a very, very cool thing as far as the writing goes. Again, WGA solidarity. It set up everything very well. Okay. Its setups were very, 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 very well thought out, from the relationship exploration between Ortega and Spock. The way to give Ortega a moment without dedicating an entire episode to her, making it a very special episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you grew up in the 80s. She wasn't at the bicycle shop. God, I'm dated. And when it comes down to all of that stuff, this episode was very well put together, because with the loss of immediate memory, it raised the question of what is the nature of a person. So,
Yeah.
the nature of each individual, what training they have, and how a person's life decisions and the paths that they choose to take will have a really big part, really big contribution on who they are ultimately. And I like that. I like that a lot. Because I'm from a nurture versus nature philosophy. And
Hmm.
so I really dug that. Now Star Trek, Strange New World as a whole is becoming one of my favorite Star Trek shows because it's really getting back to the essence of what Star Trek was,
Okay.
which was it wasn't a space opera war drama. It was a series of morality tales and philosophical questions. You get what I mean?
All right, I got you.
And I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that in the sense of I love sci-fi more than I love sci-fantasy.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's got, the fictitious science gack talk, but the questions that it raises are the same nature of questioning that you get from things like Dune, and I really appreciate that. So yeah, this is in the running for one of my favorite Star Trek shows. It's like it's
Nice.
battling it out with Deep Space Nine right now.
Nice.
And
Nice.
I appreciate it. I really do. Um yeah, so with that, if y'all want to find me, y'all can hit me up on twitch.tv/bid_p Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you just want to email me directly, you can pull up your keyboard and type in backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. And of course, check out BidP Blurred on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those YouTube things because we have a handicap with YouTube, which is YouTube hates long form content. So since this ain't a TikTok dance and it's not a 4-minute conversation, YouTube is like, nah, nobody wants to see that. It's like you're not giving them the chance to find out. Come on. So
Sure.
engage with us.
You need that mix. You need that mix.
Yeah, engage with us to let the mighty lords of the algorithm know, hey, people do watch this stuff. I might want to see some more of this. It helps out. It helps out NERDSoul over here, helps me out, helps out every small YouTuber. Because as my TikTok is always saying, yo man, you always look at me saying, hey, why ain't you famous yet? It's like, because you ain't sharing my stuff, man.
Yeah, you gotta share it. You gotta share it and share it again and keep on sharing it.
Yeah, see, because when y'all share our stuff, we can share yours because we know who shared our stuff. Because you'd be like, yo, man, I was there. I'm one of the OGs. I was there with Star Trek Talk. And I'll be like, word, let me give your YouTube channel a thumbs up. That's how it works. Each one teach one.
True that. True that.
Because, we say community. So let's commune. Hit that thumbs up. hit that like. Hit that subscribe.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. For me, final thoughts. As I watch Star Trek, I believe that I'm getting more of what people refer to as like old school Star Trek, or like, kind of like TOS style Star Trek, where it's a very different vibe from Discovery. Like Discovery, and this is something that I like about this is why I say Star Trek is back, because now you have Lower Decks, you have Prodigy. Even though I think Prodigy is done, I don't know if it's coming back, because at least the way they ended Star Trek Prodigy, it seemed like they finished that story and they're done, unless they're going to plan on going forward. But Star Trek Prodigy was awesome. I think they should continue it, but I also, if they're done with what they're doing, it's fine. But Star Trek Prodigy, you got Picard, even though that wasn't for me, you know what I'm saying? I know there's people that loved it. Discovery, now you have Strange New Worlds. They are really giving us a lot of different aspects of Starfleet in general. And this does have a very, I don't know if old school would be the term, but it does have a very like kind of classic sci-fi type of feel. And I enjoyed it a lot. So that's how I feel about Star Trek Strange New Worlds in general. It feels very classic, like meaning like classic sci-fi. And I really enjoy all the acting and stuff and the direction. Of course, like the tech is on point. For this episode, I have to give it to, once again, we're showing, or they're showing how, hey, it doesn't have to be all about Pike. Like our whole cast this week, like you got Dr. Mbinga, even seeing him saying like, it's great being asked to come down here, because I can fight. So you can see like this guy, we're getting glimpses into his life where it's like, this is something that I thought I had let go, something that I thought I was done with. But then I can also see the side from Pike being like, hey, yeah, you might have let that go, but look, now I know we out here exploring, but sometimes when you explore, you come up against people that don't want you exploring.
Mm-hmm.
And when they don't want you exploring, they don't ask you nicely to stop exploring. So you have that, and then Erica, who would normally we just see, and I will admit it, I cannot stand her haircut. I think it's just it. Oh man, they need a stylist on the Enterprise, but you know what I'm saying? It like it's not even faded. It's like it's just bald and hair. But anyway, seeing Erica shine on this, especially like the cool like laser phaser maneuver with the flip, like look, whenever you flip a ship, it's cool for me. Now I do always wonder about the people inside the ship. Like imagine person that's like,
they've got inertial dampeners and artificial gravity, so
okay, so they're
like you're sitting in the living room.
I'm like, what if someone's like in the bathroom and like they're like, oh shit, we gotta do this maneuver. It's like it's it's not gonna be safe for them. But
you wrong, man.
Hey, it's
just wrong, man.
Well, not in a spaceship, but it's happened to me. Quick story to make fun of myself. I'm in the airport. Well, I mean, in the airplane. I'm flying back to LA. I go to the bathroom. Everything's all good. I'm trying to go to the bathroom. Do what everybody does. They hit turbulence. There was pee everywhere. Everywhere.
I was about to say, what, you got a Captain Phillips moment?
Man, it was. I had to wipe down. It was a bad. I mean, I could laugh now because it was cool. Then we hit, and it was everywhere, man. It was just flying everywhere. I couldn't stop it. It was so I look at stuff like this. I'm like, well, what about the people that were like maybe asleep or in the bathroom or like somebody was in the shower? But I mean, I guess you don't have to worry about that. We good.
Yeah, no, they talk about the inertial dampeners all the time, and they do that to show how much force is hitting on those shields. Because the Star Trek shaky cam. We love the Star Trek shaky cam.
Yeah, you gotta like jiggle and like grab on to something like
yeah. And that's the thing. They got shielding, they have artificial gravity, they have inertial dampeners, which I hate being that guy that compares stuff like Star Trek to the real world. But that being said, okay, yeah, they do have the science. You can't look at this stuff without having a little science in there, and the science they got in there is essentially saying, yeah, so we got people shaking and people falling all over the place. Like, what happens when we're doing those weird maneuvers? Do people have to hold on as the Enterprise makes a U-turn as not to get slammed against the wall at faster than light speed? So yeah,
no questions.
Yeah.
So with that said, guys, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, podcast, all that jazz. We love all y'all. Thank you for coming. And until the next time that you forget something, or until the next time that you have to beat up a warlord that used to be down with you, but got left for dead, but wasn't really left for dead because you didn't know he wasn't dead and all that stuff. But then you got to come back and then take him back to Starfleet so you can arrest him. It's just us saying peace.
Later, guys.